Are you buying a property for the first time? Then you can't miss those 8-step process on how to buy a property in UK. Stay tuned! I still remember when I purchased my first property in UK. I was so tense. I wasn't sure about the exact process. But after I bought multiple properties, I find out that there are 8 steps to follow. If you're new to the channel, my name is Fabrizio Cravero, Happy, Dodo, and we all invest in UK properties. And if you have the same passion that we have, subscribe to the channel because we release video every week to keep you informed on how to safely create passive income through UK properties. Let's get started with the first step. First, of course, you have to have your offer accepted. And nowadays, with the market being so hot, it's not an easy task. And remember that the offer being accepted is an exciting news. But until the exchange of contracts, nothing is guaranteed. Many deals in UK falls through even after the offer is accepted. That happens because in England and Wales, the offer is not legally binding. In England and Wales, either the buyer or the seller can withdraw anytime if something suspicious may arise during the conveyancing process. But wait, what the conveyancing process is? Conveyancing is the legal transfer of home ownership from the seller to the buyer. The conveyancing process starts when your offer on a house is accepted and finishes when you receive the key. Once an offer has been accepted, several things need to be done before the contracts can be exchanged. It is fundamental that you are proactive, organized, and communicative in order to reduce the risk of the sale falling through. Which, by the way, it is something that happens more often than you can imagine. As much as 1 out of 3 according with Rightmove. So how can you be proactive? If you are buying with a mortgage or by using bridging finance, you need to contact the mortgage broker and make sure your finances will be in place on time for the day of completion. This can be a long process sometimes, so you need to start straight away with this step. Then next, you need to instruct the solicitor. The solicitor will check all the legals and will guide you through the whole process all the way to the exchange of contracts and completion. Then, it is not mandatory, but it is suggested to appoint a surveyor as well. The surveyor will inspect the property itself and will provide you with a detailed report. Practically, the surveyor will be checking if there are any structural problems with the property, and he will give you a clear idea of the condition of it. After the solicitor does the legal searches and you receive the report from the surveyor, if you notice something that you were not aware of when you placed an offer, don't worry. You are still on time to get back to the seller and renegotiate the price. Of course, this is something that may delay the whole process in a best case scenario, or even the seller may decide to put the property back to the market. In that case, you still need to bear the cost of the solicitor and the surveyor. But I'm sure that you don't want to proceed with the purchase of a property with some problem that you were not aware of. If all the searches comes out clear as you expected, negotiation won't be necessary and you can set the date for the exchange of contract and completion through the solicitor. Once the buyer and seller have all the paperwork in place, the contracts can be exchanged. The buyer and the seller will sign identical documents. The buyer and the seller solicitor will then exchange contracts, and in this moment, that's when the agreement becomes legally binding and either the buyer or the seller can back up without any major penalties. When the contracts are exchanged, you will need to pay an exchange deposit to the seller. This is usually 10% of the property price and the remainder will be paid when you complete. The main purpose of the exchange deposit is to show to the seller that you are definitely going to buy the property. If you pull out of the deal after the exchange, then the seller can sue you and can keep the exchange deposit. The time between having an offer accepted and exchange of contracts is generally the longest part of the home buying process, and can take any time between a couple of weeks in the best case up to several months. And that's why I suggested you before to be proactive. Keep on chasing the solicitor and follow up for the whole process. The good news is that when you do exchange contracts, the two solicitors will agree a completion date. Completion dates are often set 2 weeks after the exchange, but this is just a guideline. If you want to move quicker, you can ask the solicitor to set the exchange of contracts and completion even on the same day. I personally like to proceed like that to speed up the process, because that's how I usually get to have a better price by guarantee speed to the seller. And now, let me share with you an interesting statistics. What it is the best day to complete on a property transaction? Almost half of all the property completion takes place on Friday. Completion on Friday is very popular because it gives the buyer a chance to settle in the property during the weekend. But Friday popularity also means that the conveyancing firm tends to be booked fast. So especially if you are an investor, I suggest you a day between Monday and Thursday, when the service provider and the banks are less busy and you may have also a buffer if something goes wrong. And then, what's happened when you complete? As a buyer, your role on completion day is very simple. You wait for a phone call or for the email from your solicitor confirming that the funds has been transferred and completion has taken place. So assuming that everything goes smoothly, yourself or the agent on your behalf can collect the key and you officially own a beautiful home or your investment property. Congratulations! Good! So this is how the buying process works in England and Wales. But what it is the best structure for you to buy a property? Are you buying under your personal name or under limited company? Check this video up here where I highlighted all the pros and cons of buying a property under a limited company. If you enjoyed the content, please press the like button and subscribe to the channel. Happy, myself, Dodo, hidden here behind, we are all telling you to invest with knowledge and create financial freedom.